Hey, what's up? This is Chosen, and this video is going to be a champion guide for Mountain King, so let's get into it. Alrighty, let's fire up the index here. We'll go down to Dwarves, and the Force Affinity Legendary right here is Mountain King. Now, as always, for my champion guides, down in the description, pinned comment, all that good stuff, I will have a link to an infographic that shows all the basic information about Mountain King. The fact that it takes 11 books to completely max out if you go that route of spending books on him. The stat priorities of HP being the main one, and then speed, resistance, crit rate if you wanted to put out damage, and then the grades for all the dungeons, the optimal sets, and all that good stuff. Then the masteries that I will have on the champion that you see in this video. But remember, do not just blindly copy masteries. You want to tailor them to how you are using the champion, and only use this as a starting point / template. So let's put that away and dive into Mountain King here. Alright, so Mountain King has an insane base HP. That's the main thing to take note of when we look at the base stats here. 31,050 base HP. We can really scale his HP to a massive amount. And then he also is a champion that scales with attack as well as HP. His damage will be based off of both those main stats. And he's got a really good base attack as well of 1432. So you can really scale this guy to do some cool things in terms of stat-wise. We've also got a base speed of 85, which is a little bit low. You'll want to take note of that. But given the fact that you can build him with certain varieties to get a lot of value in being a low speed champion, that's not too bad. And then the base crit damage of 63 is also really good. We usually see 50, 57, or 63, so he's got the high version of the base crit damage. And then a base resistance of 90. That is insanity. That's an incredibly high base resistance, so you can really make him very sturdy in the arena when you couple that with his massive base HP. And the 0 base accuracy is not a big deal on Mountain King because he is a champion that we do not need to worry about getting accuracy on. So when we dive into the A1, we've got attacks one enemy, and like I said, it scales with HP and attack, so it gets doesn't get much simpler than that. Then we've got the A2, that is again attack one enemy, but this one hits a lot harder. It's going to ignore 50% of the target's defense, which is a big deal. Ignoring defense helps you crank out the damage. Then we've got the A3, that is also attack one enemy, but it's going to ignore shields and block damage buffs. So this can be very good in certain dungeons, like the Magic Potion Keep, where the boss places a massive shield, or in the arena, where shields and block damage are very common. And then we've also got a passive that increases the champion's attack by 50% each time the champion kills an enemy, and stacks up to 100% and resets each round. Now, this can be really good in the arena in sustained fights. You get him to do more kills. He's going to scale his value to be higher and higher and higher the longer the battle goes, as long as he's squeezing in a kill every now and then. So now let's slide on over to the Mountain King that I have built on my account and talk about the gearing and booking process and all that good stuff. So here is my Mountain King, and first things first, if you want to see the total stats that I've got on mine, in case you want to compare a build and how you did yours compared to mine, you'll see the HP was a massive priority for me, almost at 140,000 HP. By far the highest HP I personally have on any champion. The attack to boot is almost 2,300. I prioritize HP, even though his damage scales with attack and HP. I definitely think you want to stack the HP, and the attack is kind of a secondary effect that if you get some, great, but if not, don't worry about it. Then you'll see the speed of 151 is a little bit on the low side in terms of end game viability, but like I said, one of the cool things about Mountain King, like you'll see later in this video, is you can get some good value out of him even if his speed is a little bit lower than typical in the end game. And then I got a little bit of crit rate here and there just to help him do some damage. And then, like I said, you don't need accuracy. That's very cool about Mountain King. Makes him just that little bit easier to gear. And the resistance is 216, even though I didn't really prioritize resistance in my Mountain King's build, but his base resistance of 90 is so insane that you can get over 200 resistance in a heartbeat without even really trying to. Now, I'm mainly building Mountain King to be viable in the arena. I want to use him to counter certain comps in 3v3 comps when I'm farming gold 4 to get my great haul medals and all that good stuff. So I think if you're going to use him in the arena, the shield set is incredible on him. The shield set scales with HP, so whenever you've got a champion with massive HP, Mountain King is a perfect candidate for a shield set because he also doesn't need a ton of speed and he doesn't need a ton of accuracy. So you can really do some cool things in using a shield set on him. And then obviously we want to go with something that buffs HP, like Life or Immortal or Divine Life are all going to be good choices to fill in after the shield set. On the banner, I'm going with my best blend of HP, defense, and speed because I'm trying to stack his HP as high as I can to get the maximum amount of value out of the shield set that I've got on him. So the same thing on the amulet. Now, I would probably rather have a little bit sturdier resistance on an amulet, but this was my best 6-star amulet that I had ready to put on him. Ideally, I would go with like a triple roll resistance amulet on him, but that one will do just fine. Then on the ring, ideally we're going HP with our best blend of defense percent and HP percent down in these substats. Now the boots, a cool thing about him, like I said, you can go non-speed boots. They are perfectly viable on him as long as you build the right team around him. So I've got a perfect boot for him. I've got HP percent, cranking out that shield set value, and then I also got a double roll of speed so that his speed isn't going to be too insanely low. I don't want him to be down at like 120 speed or something. I'd like to get him at least up in that 150, 160 range so I could snowball battles in the arena and they're not getting, 2 and 3 turns to my Mountain King. So I do want to get him a little bit of speed. These are perfect candidates for him, and they also got resistance to boot. Then on the chest, you're almost always going to want an HP percent chest, especially if you're building a shield set. The gloves, a lot of different routes you can go if you want him to do damage. Nothing wrong with going crit damage, crit rate, and all that good stuff. But in the context I'm using him in the arena to get value out of that shield set, obviously HP percent is the choice. And then the top ones are a little bit more simple because the main stat is always the same. We're going with our best blend of speed, HP, defense, and resistance. But here are my pieces just in case you are curious. Then as we slide into the skills tab, I want to talk about the booking process for Mountain King. Now, a cool thing about Mountain King as well is he can be a really good legendary, a very high impact legendary without spending any books. I have not put any legendary books on my Mountain King. Obviously, the books are going to help him, and he's even better with books. So don't feel ashamed of spending books on him. He's going to hit that much harder and help you win arena battles that much easier. But he is one of those exceptions where he can do still very good without books and bring a ton of value. So if you are going to spend books on him, obviously the priority would probably be to get the cooldowns on the A2 and the A3. And then if you want to save a couple on the A1, if you get lucky on your book RNG, that's fine. So really one of the simpler champions in terms of booking. If you don't use books on him, that's probably fine. If you do use books on him, you can't go wrong because he's a pretty solid legendary that you can have some fun with in the arena and faction wars, dungeons, all that good stuff. And then as we slide into the Masteries, remember I do have that infographic down in the video description. If you want to be able to pull that up and take a look at what I'm using, you'll be able to grab that whenever you want. But I went offense and defense on him. You could go the support route and then take the elixir of life to get that much more HP and help out the shield set and help out his damage and all that type of stuff. I would rather go down the offense tree and get into the crit damage and then take some of these, cycle of revenge and the counterattack deterrence. So this should be a pretty generally useful mastery set on Mountain King that will do just fine on him, but feel free to read them and customize him to perform in your likelihood in terms of how you are using him. And now I want to talk about an arena team that I built to perform really well when farming medals in Gold 4 and also sliding into the 3v3 arena with a lot of success. And after I describe it, I will show you a couple examples of some fights and how Mountain King can really shine. So obviously, we're going to go in the leader spot, somebody to really boost the HP and make my team even more tanky. Sir Nicholas is the perfect candidate because he's got a high HP, he's got an HP aura, he cranks out damage, he places freezes, he places unkillable, he does a lot of general stuff that I want in a team that's going to go second and that I want a high base HP on. Mountain King, obviously, we got him in the shield set, he's going to crank up the toughness of my team. When we're going second, we're going to need to absorb what the enemy team throws at us. So we want tanky champions, and we want somebody that's going to synergize with the toughness my Mountain King is bringing. Torment is great in any team that's going to go second. He's going to enable us to freeze the enemies when they go first. We can get some little bit of RNG luck and make the fight even easier once he starts cranking out those freezes. And then Hawkhorn Smash Sword, I've got him in an immunity set so that he can absorb what the enemy team does, cleanse everything, and then once we go second, we're off into the races and we're snowballing against our opponents. But now, let me pull up this video and we will talk about some of these matches here. So we'll fire that up, and here is the first one. You'll see this is a blender comp. They come in, we absorb the wave, and we are totally fine. It didn't really harm us at all. And then once we're going and we sustain what they throw at us, it's our turn to start placing those freezes and start cleansing what they did to us. Mountain King can hit. Sir Nicholas is cranking out the AoE damage. We've got lots of synergy, and we're able to crank out and overpower our opponents the longer the fight goes. Here you can see Torment with the clutch freezes. It's no problem. We can go HP instead of speed. We can play a defense meta instead of speed meta and do just fine all the way up in the end game in Gold 4. Another blender comp here. It's no problem. We're good. We got some freezes. We got a lot of toughness. Even if we don't place freezes, they're not going to kill us with that amount of HP and shielding that Mountain King is cranking out and giving to our team. So this fight is also not going to be a problem. Sir Nick placing the unkillable, so even if they do happen to chew through our damage, there is a chance that Sir Nick is going to place that and keep our team up, even if they do sustain fatal damage. So a pretty cool team here that is able to play a very defensive style all the way up into Gold 4 and the higher tiers of 3v3 Arena. Here is a Hegemon, so you can see here, we absorb what he does, and then my Hegemon, my Hawkhorn, sorry, is going to cleanse what the Hegemon does to us because he's in the immunity set. And then once we snowball and we're off and running, we sustain what the Hegemon did. And when it's our turn, it is over. Now, you do have to be careful with champions that strip buffs when you're playing a style like this. So Saris, Ray, Sathalia, champions like this. If you're going to be going second and you're using somebody in an immunity set, or shield sets and all that good stuff, you need to be careful of champions that are going to remove those buffs. You're going to want high resistance, or Torment can help you take those teams down by placing freezes, but that's not 100% reliable, so do be careful in a team like this when you're going up against champions that are going to strip buffs. Now you can see this is kind of a hybrid team. This is going to be a speed, sustain, Torment, offense, nuking with Rotos, single target killing with Torment, helping out with a more sustained fight, Arbiter with the speed, Harvest Jack with the CC. A pretty good Gold 4 hybrid team here, but the longer the fight goes, we're going to be able to out-sustain them with our massive amounts of toughness, our cleansing from Hawkhorn, our freezes from Torment, and you can see here the freeze is taking place, and the longer it goes, they're not going to be able to chew through us, and we're going to be able to out-sustain them here. There's the Sir Nick buffs, Hawkhorn squeezing in a kill, Mountain King hitting decently hard there against the Torment, and then our Sir Nick cleaning somebody up. There's more freezes from Torment. And then it's kind of like a slow squeeze when you play this style. You're just trying to outlast them, absorb what they do, and then just sustain. And the longer the fight goes, the more of an advantage it is going to be for you because you have so much more sustain than they do. And there it goes. It's just a matter of time as we clean it up. And GG, that is how I kind of farm the arena with this team here based around Mountain King, using Sir Nick to extract the value, Torment and Hawkhorn helping it shine and synergize with it as well. So arena offense, I'm going to give him a 5, especially when we can be selective of who we're targeting, who we're going up against. Mountain King, you can really pick situations where he's definitely going to shine. Campaign, he'd be okay in terms of 3-starring content. He's definitely not going to be a GG S-tier campaign farmer in terms of being an XP speed farmer, but he'd be all right in terms of 3-starring content. So we'll give him like a 3 or a 4. Arena defense, he's like a 4.5. He's probably not quite as strong on defense, but still very good. People are going to be slotting in champions that remove buffs and stuff, so you'll have to be careful about that on defense. But yeah, I mean, we'll give him a 5. You can still do some cool things with him on defense. Magic Keep, he does ignore shields, and he counters the affinity. He's strong affinity, being Force versus Magic, so we'll give him a 5 there. Then the Minotaur, he's fine. He can really help your team sustain, and he'll be very sturdy. He's like a 4.5 or a 5. We'll give him a 4 there. Clan Boss, he's not going to be super good. He is a legendary with good base stats, so I'll give him a 2, but that's not where he's going to be bringing a whole lot of value to your account. Dragon's Lair, he's fine. He's affinity strong to the last stage. That's always a good thing, and he can really help you sustain the waves. We'll go 5. Spider Den, not going to be where he shines. We're definitely going to go... I'll give him a 2 because he's a legendary, but he's pretty close to a 1 there in the Spider. Same thing with the Fire Knight. He doesn't have any turn meter reduction or a multi-hitters or anything like that. So we're going to go ahead and give him a 2 again here. Force Keep, he'll be fine. We'll give him a 4. Ice Golem, he's affinity weak to the last stage. That's a ding, but he's a very sustained champion, which is good in the Golem, so we'll give him a 4. And then the Void Keep, he's fine, not like S tier or anything. He's weak in the Spirit Keep. You're not going to really want to use him there. And Faction Wars, he's great. He can really help you progress your account in terms of the Dwarf Crypt, so we will give him a 5 there. So yeah, let's submit these, and just to wrap up, Mountain King, a very cool champion, a very well-designed champion in terms of being playable in different ways to do fun things with him, and he's pretty viable with or without books, and you can do some cool and interesting things with him. Build him in certain different ways. You can build him as a damage dealer, build him as a tank, build him as a shield set guy, build him with low speed. He's a different design of a champion, so fills a very cool role in the game. He's definitely worth 6-starring and worth playing around with in the arena, and also helping you out to progress your account to tougher stages of, for sure, faction wars and also dungeons if you're playing a more sustained style. So as always, remember that infographic is down in the video description and a pinned comment if you want to pull that up and take a look. So let me know what you think about Mountain King down in the comments, and as always, thank you for watching. Have a good rest of your day. Peace.